But do you think now there'll be a spillover and we're going to see more unconstitutional changes of government?
Spillover may be highly unlikely. I mean, there are several factors that go into a military coup. And as you're saying, I'm actually recalling I was in Niger about 2 weeks ago in Niamey. And there is a structure of the AES, which is the Alliance of Sahel States. And as we were there, one of the friends that I was with, they said to me, "Oh, you can't take a photo with this because you're affiliated to the African Union." I said, "Oh, I actually can." I am saying that to say unconstitutional changes of government are not happening in a vacuum. And it goes back to the point I was making around governance. I am yet to be convinced that young people in Africa are going to be championing military rule and military leadership. What that statement is, or what that support we see going there is actually a protest against democracy not being able to deliver and against certain governance structures not being able to deliver. When the price of food goes up in Harare or in Lusaka, it goes up for everyone in that community. And what we find articulated in some of these progressive democratic pronouncements, it's actually wanting to put food on the table. It's people wanting to send their kids to school. It's people wanting to have access to health and certain services. So what I am hinting at is that what we find in the Sahel is actually regional occurrences with national manifestations. By national manifestations, what I'm suggesting is the fact that it happened in Niger doesn't mean that conditions for a coup to happen in Zimbabwe are non-existent. It's the protesting against issues around service delivery, around the high cost of living, around being in societies that are highly unequal, such as South Africa. That could set already the foundation for disgruntlement and people to protest. It then happens in a context in Sahel because of other aggravating circumstances. For example, presence of insurgent groups that then amplify, or even presence of a military that's able to sort of jump on the cause that people are already indicating to have some level of disgruntlement over.
Which region is currently doing well as far as youth, peace and security and just development in terms of vibrancy?
Because I served as the ambassador for Southern Africa, then it's Southern Africa.
You can't be biased. You just cannot be biased.
I think each region has got its own challenges. For example, if you look at peace and security concerns within the Southern Africa region in countries including Botswana, Zambia, South Africa here, majority of them are hinged on economic and social issues. For example, I said earlier that I'm yet to be convinced that support towards unconstitutional change of governments is pure support and understanding of militarism. It's actually a protest against governance not being able to deliver, right? So if you look at Southern Africa context, I think unemployment is a big issue. So we may not have active conflicts. For example, if you look at the Sahel region, or even countries like Cameroon, where I was in, or even Nigeria, where you have very active insurgents such as Boko Haram. But that can't be said for Mozambique anymore because of Cabo Delgado. But for majority of the countries within the region, the threats then stem from the lack or inability to deliver those public goods I referenced to. And if I'm a young person who's unemployed, I graduated from university and I go online and there's a link to join an insurgent group because I can get $100 or $200 a month, rest assured I'm going to do it because I either through social or economic pressures that I am facing. So those are some of the peculiarities we find. I don't think there's a specific region where is outperforming. I think the dynamics are very different and calls for looking at each region and on a case-by-case basis.
I also want to talk about the empowerment of women. You, at a very young age, have been able to work within the high echelons of power, meeting presidents, ministers. You spoke at the United Nations Security Council at some point, and you're a young lady yourself. Do you think more can be done to, in terms of improve gender parity?
Certainly, I agree with you there. I think there is more that can be done to promote or even support young women and young people that want to to get into governance. Of course, the landscape now is different from what it was. If you look at countries like Namibia, you have quite a number of young people that have made, I think, ministerial, that have also made parliamentarian positions.
So I have a friend in Namibia, the top echelons of power in Namibia, from the president, those in the prime minister's office, the whole executive, it's women. And I think it's such a beautiful thing. Do you think there's hope that other countries on the African continent can elevate women more to powerful positions?
On that note, it actually reminds me of, I'm not too sure if you watched the inauguration of the Namibian president, and she hugged former President Ellen Sirleaf Johnson.
Yes,
I think that was one of a beautiful moment to witness in our lifetime. And I do think that more could be done, but it's also very important to acknowledge the progress that has been made in terms of championing and promoting women's participation in politics and political processes. Is there hope for the African continent? I think so. I think there is hope, both for participation at national level, member state level, but also even within regional institutions. About 10 years ago, you couldn't speak about a young person serving as an envoy within the chairperson's office. We've had 2 young people that have held that capacity, and the third one is coming in. And I think that is indicative of the progress, very incremental, but incremental change that we see at both regional and also at national level. And I think there is hope there for people that want to get into politics. Of course, it might not happen at the rapid pace that many people are anticipating, but I am quite hopeful that things will change.
Let's talk about tokenism. From my experiences, it tends to be young people or those that are educated, those that are connected. We tend to forget those in the suburban areas and rural areas.